God says to us in the Qur'an to seek with what he has made available to us. That means your good nature, first of all, your good human nature. God created the human nature. The human nature has possibilities greater than any other nature and any other thing God created. No animal he created has our possibilities for freedom and progress, for freedom and comfort, for freedom and a prosperous life, for dignity among creatures. He created no other creature like he created us, humans. Not even the angels were given the dignity or the honor to utilize God's creation and contribute from their own beings that complements God created. Only man was given that, the thinking mind. Man, male and female. Only we were given that. So we have been given a measure of freedom above all creatures. And we have been given the freedom to create, whereas he did not give that to other creatures except in very small measure that we hardly notice to give them any credit for being creators. God is the creator of this world and us and everything. All possibilities are within his own work of creating the world and us. There are no possibilities for anything except in the world that God created with his help, with his spirit working with us. There's no other possibilities for anything. We couldn't speak had not God made us to speak. We wouldn't have languages. We wouldn't have a world giving us science had not God made the world to give us science or these sciences and made our brain to engage the world so that the world would communicate to our brains or to our minds these sciences. God says, see, by the means I have availed you, I made available to you the afterlife. Actually, the word simply means the latter, the end. El-Akhirah is not saying paradise. It's not saying heaven. It's simply saying the latter, or the end. Some will translate it the destination or the destiny. So God then has willed or intended for his creation, human creation, when he created them, a definite conclusion, a definite end, a definite goal for the life of the whole people. For the life of the whole people. This end is not for any one nation that we're talking about. This end is not for any one race. No. This end is not for any one religion. No, it's not. The day of conclusion is called Yom Ad-Din. It's not called Yomul Islam. It's called Yom Ad-Din. Why? Because God has, as he said, if I wanted you to be one community, I would have made you so. God said it was in his power, as we know, we believe as people in believing in God. That it was in God's power, if he had willed it, if he had wanted it that way, he could have made it so that we would not think in any way other than he wanted us, created us to think, and he could have created us to think only Islam. And we would not have been Jews and Buddhists and Hindus and Christians and others. But he says he made us this way. And he tells us now, vie with one another, struggle and compete with one another in all that is good. That's what God says. So he created us different so that we would engage each other in a competition for all that is good. We're living in a time now that I call the day of religion. Yom Din does not only mean day of judgment. In fact, Dain means death. So judgment is implied. But Deen is religion. Dini al-Islam. I just said my religion in Arabic. Any Arab that speaks Arabic understood what I said. Although I'm sure you got some friends from the immigrant community who got some things they're working against us to undermine my credit and hope that you will follow them in their way and forget about what I'm telling you. And just remember that I called you to the Qur'an and the Sunnah, and that's all. Stop there. And then they take over from there and give you the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Say, oh, his whole life, his whole mission was just to bring you to us. Give you the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Now you got everything from him. He cannot give you any more. Now you come to us. You're our fruit. Brother, do you know what FOI means? Fruit of Islam? You're fruit of Islam. Islamic wealth. You're our fruit. Come on, brother. We will help you now and teach you and educate you. Yeah. So they're waiting, okay? They want sheep that are not theirs. Get your own sheep. These sheep are in America. They're ours. Yes. All right. So we have to realize what God has created us for. That God has created us for great responsibility, and God is going to give us in the place of our losses that is of equal value and greater and greater. And we have to be prepared to do exactly what God is asking us to do, get our share. He says, use what I have made available to you to get the hereafter, to get the ladder of the destiny, of the end that I have planned for you. But don't forget your share of the material world. La tansa nasibaka min ad-dunya. Do not forget your share of the material world. Now God, when he says, La tansa nasibaka, he's speaking to us as one individual. Who was he saying this to? He was saying this to a wealthy man. The wealthy man who had great wealth, but this wealthy man was not just by those that he rose up upon. He rose up upon the poor and the weak. He got rich upon them. And in his wealth was a share for them, if he's just. So God is reminding this individual that in your wealth is a share that belongs to the poor, that belongs to others, that you have risen up upon, that you have used to get up and to get wealth by, by whom you have used to get wealth. So God is reminding him. So God is speaking to him as an individual. But is that the end of the explanation or the tafsir or the commentary on that? No. No, indeed. It's just the beginning of it. The same figure is mentioned in the Bible. The rich man is questioned, and he asks, how can I be saved? Or how can I be accepted? And the answer was, you have to be born again. You have to be born again. That's the answer in the Bible. And he said, how can I return to my mother's womb? And the answer was given again, nevertheless, you must be born again. That was the answer given to him. So the Qur'an addressed the same thing, the same rich man, and the Qur'an addressed him, reminding him how he can be reborn again. How can he be reborn again? Recognize that the poor that you have built your wealth on at their expense too have a share in your wealth. So have a charitable heart. Be generous and remember those that you are indebted to for your own wealth. That's how you can be born again. Now, but God speaks to that person in the singular and does not give him any name in the Quran. Oh yes, he has he does have an identity in the Quran. He does have an identity. But when God speaks to him and says, you, cat means you, speaking directly to one person. God is speaking to all people like him, to all rich people like him. But God is also speaking to the poor. See how powerful God's communication is? When God is speaking to him, he's also speaking to the poor. He's using that rich man to tell the poor, you have a share of the material world that is yours. I made the material world not only for these rich people. I made this world for all of you. Now, if you want to let the rich go ahead of you and use you and rise up upon your back, upon their putting you down, well, that's what they do when they don't inform you that you have this kind of great potential and great power in your own self. That God created you just like he created every rich man, with the same inherent qualities, with the same inherent potential for great things, for great work. So God is awakening the poor and the ignorant. At the same time, he's rebuking or addressing the problem of the rich man by saying, yes, rich man, in my eyes, I created you, a human, and in my presence, you have a right to your share. But that makes the rich man wonder now. God says my share. Now, when God says my share, does my share still stand? That I said was my share? No. So like mama, in the home, I know you have good mamas like I have. And mama sometimes says, you get hungry, you run in off the street, you run to the table, you start grabbing food. She said, get only your share. Right? Your other brothers did eat, or the rest of the family did eat. Get only your share. Sometimes you have to check one that just goes overboard, Well, that's what God is doing for this rich man. He's checking him because he's going overboard. So God says, you entitled to your share. He said, don't forget your share. It's to say to the rich man, yes, you entitled to your share too. You entitled to your share of wealth. So a rich man, a free person in the society or in the world, in God's presence, you have the freedom to amass great wealth. If you have the power and ability and skills or whatever, resources, to become a billionaire, become a billionaire. Become a trillionaire. But don't forget your share. Your share is not the trillion or the trillions. Your share is a part of that. Those that you've used in the process of getting that big, they have shares too in it. God created all of us. He created all of us to have part of the world, a share in the world that he made. This is what God is saying. So don't forget your share. But God is speaking through him, as I said before, to every one of us. And God does not want to speak to us as a community, not when it comes to us being aware of what we have from God individually. So God is speaking to us individually. Cat means individually. Kum, we say assalamu alaikum. That means you all of you. If I say assalamu alaikum, it would be very improper for me to come in here and greet you assalamu alaikum. Who is the cat I'm speaking to? Where's the individual I'm speaking to? Kum means all of you. Cat means just one of you. So God is saying that I have created every human individual for honor, excellence, dignity, and great works. Some will develop their resources or their talents, some won't. Some will be awakened, some will not. Some will be held down and confused, and their minds will be overcome by the deceits of those that want to exploit their resources and keep them as a company of workers or a company of slaves or a nation of consumers. But I will not tolerate that. I'm a just God. I will awaken in them an awareness of their great worth, their equal dignity with all nations, and they will begin to rise. And one day, I, on their side, will bring them into great, great wealth and great prosperity. That's God's will for us. That's why I'm here. God knows it. That's why I'm with you. I'm not with you just to teach you how to pray. No, indeed. If you don't want to pray, you can't be with me, that's for sure. Because I know my whole life owes itself to God. To God's blessings and mercy and forgiveness and favor on us, my whole life, and yours too. I know that. So certainly, I know the importance of prayer. But what did Muhammad say, peace be upon him? Prayers and peace be upon that wonderful, perfect soul. What did he say? Most generous human being ever walked the land, the earth. What did he say? He said, one learned person is harder on the Satan devil than 1,000 pious worshipers. So he didn't give credit to people who want to pray and fast and do all the rituals unless they are also making a contribution to the improvement of the society, educating the members of the society, putting the society in a position where they can be free and productive, free and more productive. Those are the ones that he gave the great credit to. And again, he said, referring to this same value, or to the same balance that we should keep. Pray and work. Pray and work. Have faith and work. Have faith and work. He said the ink of the scholar is more precious than the blood of the martyr. The ink of the scholar is more precious than the blood of the martyr. Meaning that one who will give of his mind, give the blood of his mind, give the blood of his knowledge to the people so they become better educated and thereby become a better and more productive society. That one's gift to God is more valuable or more precious than the gift of one who just sacrificed himself and spilled his physical blood, died for his people. That's what Muhammad said. And he's our leader. If he's not, then you're in the wrong religion. You're not in the right religion. You're in the wrong religion. And you're certainly in the wrong company. With me here. I got some other friends here too who tell you the same. If Muhammad is not your leader, prayers and peace be on him, you're in the wrong company. Okay. So, getting our values correct. And accepting and knowing that God didn't create us to have spirit and no body. God created us to have spirit and flesh, spirit and a body. Again, addressing this balance, Muhammad says, to marry is my tradition. So those who don't marry are not of the Prophet's tradition, not of Muhammad's tradition. That's another tradition. Buddhism or something, monks, or Catholicism or something for priests, they don't marry. But to be of Muhammad's sunnah, of Muhammad's tradition, you have to believe in getting married. This is the balance. And the community of Muhammad is called in the Qur'an also Ummatul Wusta, the midway community. It doesn't go to the extreme that leads us to materialism or to think materialist, and it doesn't go to the extreme to lead us to spiritualism that will deny us our freedom and performance that God intends for us to have in a material existence or in a material world. The world is laughing at us. Don't you know that, brothers and sisters? When the world accepts that we call ourselves spooks and put Soul Train on television, blowing steam, soul, S-O-U-L, train. Soul Train, a train of souls, that's a spook train. And they have wise, learned minds among us. One of them wrote, "Spook who sat by the door." Spook who sat by the door. We have had enlightened ones among us trying to wake us up. You're a spook. You don't have your social life constructed, built up. You don't have your family life built up. We're not talking about family relations. We're not talking about blood relations when I say family life build-up. We're talking about supported, family life supported by jobs, by industry, by wealth, by investment in community. That's how you make families strong. So they have been trying to awaken us. I got to keep watching here. Time is running out on me. And it's time that we will be reaching our destination. In spite of Oprah Winfrey, Bill Cosby, and many other now very successful in the corporate world, charitable African Americans we have, fine examples of professional people gaining wealth and sharing it. In spite of that, the race is still a race of poor people. The race is still a race of consumers. What do we produce? We consume. We're not producers, we're consumers. Very small production, not even to be registered, not even to be recorded. Our production as a people is not enough to even record our economic, our material, or our business production. No, not enough to be recorded as a people. But what stands out, what are we? Consumers. You shop at the grocery store. How many grocery stores you shop at that's yours? You're providing the food. You brought in the food. You rented or built the facility. How many are existing? Huh? This is the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is time for the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Never was there a time better than right now for the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There used to be a time when we were fearing to invest because we said the white man claims the whole America for himself and will take from us anytime he wants to and give us no excuse. And that's true. He would do that. And the law was not there to protect you. But the law is there to protect us now. The law protects us as it protects every other citizen. So we don't have to accept that anymore. This is the time for you to believe that economic empowerment is possible for the African American community. This is the time for you to believe in that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad struggled to get us to feel and want, feel a sense of equal value with white people. Feel a sense of equal power with other people. To motivate us to want to do something for ourselves and to take charge of our own circumstances and make life better for ourselves with our own hands and our own brains. Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted us to do that. The time has never been better than it is right now for us to do that. We don't have to worry, we got friends on our side. But we don't need too many friends. The African American people have grown out of fear of the white man. The white man cannot spook us anymore. No, we don't see him as divine or God anymore. So he knows that he can, the government will protect us, but the KKK will get an ass whipping if they come out openly and try the things they used to do. They know they can't defeat us. They can only defeat us if the United States government will back them up. If the police department will come and arrest us and let them go free. But if one man on man, one to one, or a group of us against a group of them, they know chicken feathers will be picked. All right? And they'll go home naked. So it's time we wake up ourselves to our history and believe that God has been overseeing it all. When they brought us from Africa, God was overseeing it all. And God was saying, some of these souls are good. And they're going to remember me in bad times and good times. And I'm going to always be with them. And when this whole land has earned nothing but a deaf ear from me, I won't be with them anymore. I'm talking about Africa. I'm going to be with these that they all victimize. God's presence is with us. God's will is on our side. Whatever your Imam WDM wants to do, you please follow him. God is with him. Now thank you. I want all of you all to hear this, and I hope that you will help make others hear it. I have nothing but appreciation for our free enterprise system and our markets that promote fair competition. I have nothing but the highest praise and highest respect for it. We don't want to go into a business and sell you something and claim that you're supposed to buy it because you are a black brother, even though it's higher than the same product that you can buy at another store or from others. We don't want to ride that way. We don't want any special condition for us in business. We want business to be the same for us as it is for anybody else. We have to stop being so greedy, and we have to start trusting one another, and we have to start supporting those that qualify for our support and denying our support to those that don't qualify for our support. Let us punish bad business. Let us punish bad business people, and let us reward good business and reward good business people. And that's how we rise business in these United States of America. Doing it any other way, you will be a loser while others are doing the same crooked things you're doing, and they're succeeding. Well, explain that for me, Imam WD Muhammad. I said God has selected us to make us a model and a witness that he is God, present all the time, and that he has been on the side of the victim and is with the victim, and that it is God that's bringing the victims to their salvation. Now, if you belong to this group, do the crooked things and try to rise and prosper the crooked way others do, God is going to knock you down much faster than he'll knock down one of them. Why? Because he didn't select them for his cause, he selected you for his cause. You are the lost. You are those cut off from your past history. You are those that were denied your human life and its freedom and its dignity and its vision for your future. You're the one that was robbed of your humanity, of your properties that God created you with. You're the one, and you are the ones that God has selected for his purpose to show his presence, that he is a just God. How can God make his presence known on earth any more plainer to the world and the nations of the world than by taking us and choosing us and being with us until we stand equal with others, until we have neighborhoods, communities, with the dignity of the best neighborhoods in the communities in the United States? How better can God make his presence known as a God on the side of justice than helping us to get there in that good place? Are you following me? In the nations of families of Americans, one member group can contribute to the freedom of the other members by upgrading its value to the whole or to the nation. When one member upgrades its ideas of human value, that member contributes to the safeguarding of freedom and makes the whole stronger for all. The greater the number in our population that breathes the breath of human dignity, the smaller the chance freedom for all members will be downgraded or spoiled. The whole chain is no stronger than its weakest link. Isn't that the same? I think that's the same. The chain or the whole chain is no stronger than its weakest link. Some members in a family of nations look unfavorably on a member when that member is not attentive to its value as regards self as a member in that family of that nation. One member not caring to evolve weighs uncomfortably on the pride, valued life, and dignity of the others who are contributing to principles and values of the nation. What am I saying with this? I'm saying that we are not only hurting ourselves directly, but we are hurting ourselves indirectly. We with our negligence, we with our slumbering mind. And you know, yawning is catchy. That's why somebody yawned that wasn't sleepy. What's that? Yawning is catchy. Laughter is catchy. You just start laughing. And that's why somebody laughs, don't even know what you're laughing about. Weeping is catchy. Once I was among some people and I didn't know what happened, but they started weeping so pitifully and so sad. It was so sad and so pitiful the way they were crying. I started crying. I don't know what they were crying about, but I was crying and catching. So understand that for your emotional life, many things are catching. And when Elijah Muhammad was speaking to us, there was some of you yawning. And it was catchy. Some of you were laughing too much, and it was catchy. Some of you were crying too much, self-pity, and it was catchy. Same thing for this time I'm in. Some of you yawning, and it's catchy. Some of you will intentionally yawn when I start speaking, because you want others to go to sleep. Yawn a long time. But God blesses us to have some that's alert, awake, vision with vision, committed to the purpose, will not stop of anything, nothing will stop them but death. They're going to the destiny, and they will not go to sleep because there's some yawning. They will not go to silly stuff because people are laughing. They will stay serious-minded. They will not become soft and weak and fit for nothing, crying with those that pity themselves, but they will stand firm. They will be the roosters crowing, waking up the camp and keeping the camp alert. Yes! So understand this in my conclusion, that when you don't make a showing as a people for your that shows that you respect material wealth, show that you respect material interests, you have to make a showing as a people that you respect the value of the earth and the value of the things that the earth produces. And God says he made the earth to produce all your needs. Not only your needs presently, he said whatever you will have as your aspirations, as your future goals or your future needs, God has made the earth enough to supply you. That's what God said. Now, he created, and then he says he created you of the earth. He didn't make you from nowhere. God made humans from the earth. He says he created us of the earth. So we are earth. We're living, walking, thinking earth. That's what we are. Living, walking, thinking the earth. He created the thinking earth to engage the earth that cannot think. To engage it, and engaging the earth that cannot think, the earth gives of itself to the mind. And the mind gives of itself to the earth. And pretty soon you have a beautiful world, a new world of man's creation, standing and making life more comfortable, not only for men, but for animals. Don't you know insects never lived so comfortably as they live? In cities and rural areas where the grass is green and thick and kept that way. I know you put poison on them sometimes, but I think a lot of them don't mind the poison, knowing all the other benefits they have. They just go underground a little deeper or something. And God gives them an immunity after so long. You spray them and they don't even feel it. They think it's rain. I believe that's what some of those roaches think. You hit them and they just keep going like it's raining on them. Like nothing but rain. So much for the joke side of it. Get back to the serious side of it. Yes. So God created us for great things. This is more important than teaching you rituals, dhikrs. I can teach you dhikrs in 1 minute. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. Keep Allah on your mind. That's all it means. Keep your respect for Allah on your mind. Keep your respect for God on your mind. Remember God often during the day and when you awake at night. Remember God. That's what dhikr is. It's remembering. Remembering God. Dhikrullah al-Akbar. And remembering God is the greatest power on earth. Certainly it is. Remembering God is the greatest power on earth. But that power is not for you to just engage that exercise. That power is for you to take your power into the world and engage the created world so you can make life more comfortable for yourself, your loved ones, your family, and your friends, and your neighbors, and for all people. So if you understand that, and understand that by your not waking up to that role, and not waking up to the reality that I have seen, that God has selected us. The world made us bastard, orphan children. No nation can really claim us. And no nation wants to. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. But no nation wants to claim us. God will not permit any nation to claim us. And if they would, God will not permit us to go to any nation. God has selected us for his purpose. And if you will accept that, and accept that your continued life of ignoring and building up your own production, you must become a productive people. You must produce so that your production respects the power, the value, and power that God has put into you as a people, just like he put into other people. Japanese, British, I don't care who they are, he'll put the same into you. And don't you know that's an insult to God, that you don't show what he put into you? That's an insult to God. Like our children, our boys and girls that we raise, we give them the best of care. We give them the best of motivation. We invite them to share our business, to become future owners and future operators of our businesses. And then the businessman look at one of the children. He shows no interest in that. He shows no industry. He shows no desire to get involved. He just wastes his time. To make the father feel like he wished, or the mother feel like he had never been born. Or that he'd be better off just thrown out somewhere and forgotten about. Think that God deserves consideration too. That he created a people, and now that people are satisfied to do nothing but go shop, get their groceries at other people's stores, live in other people's houses, live in neighborhoods designed by other people. Have their needs supplied by everybody else. Time out for that. I'm going to ask God to whip us, punish us, God, if we don't wake up to our responsibility. I ask God for that. And we're already being punished, but I'm asking that he increase the punishment on us if we don't wake up to our responsibility. I'm not any but a truthful man. I'm not anything but an honest man. I'm not anything but a sincere man. I'm not anything but a man that want to see you have, not just me have. And if you cheat my leadership, you should be punished. Thank you very much.